Welcome to SRPG Plus, it's your guy Kappa Kai. Today we have a very cool announcement. The highly anticipated Analog Pocket has finally got its essentially launch window, and pre-orders are now going to be up August 3rd. So that's really cool. If you don't know, the Analog Pocket is essentially Analog, a really good retro like consoles, like secondhand, like third party essentially, so you can play your original hardware like controllers or the cartridges themselves. And the appeal of them is that you can play multiple systems, and that's kind of what is going on with the Analog Pocket. Just according to their website, Pocket does it all: Game Gear, Neo Geo Pocket, Color, my mistake, Atari Lynx, and then of course the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Regular, and then Game Boy Advance. So this system has been it was announced towards the probably middle to end of 2019, and it said that it was going to launch in 2020. So obviously it's been delayed since then. Back then, all we really knew was the system itself was going to cost $200. There was a dock, but we didn't know anything really about the price. That was revealed, and also we didn't see what the adapters looked like. That was revealed, and it kind of went over some of I believe some more of the specs. They told us a lot about the screen, which is 3.5 inches, a really high quality screen. I think that's probably the best feature on it. There's too much ghosting or other effects that can happen to screens like that. They showed there's going to be multiplayer. The adapters aren't too big. They look pretty sleek, not gonna lie. So yeah, the system is $200. The dock itself was just announced today, this morning, August 27th, that it was $100. They showed the three adapters for the Game Gear, Neo Geo Pocket Color, and then the Atari Lynx. The only adapter that I'm really interested in, well, I guess kind of two. I'm a little bit interested in Neo Geo Pocket Color, but I'm really interested in Game Gear because there's a few Shining Force games that were released for the Game Gear, so I could actually play those on that, and that'd be great, especially with that screen. And some people are kind of mad about the price, but and I definitely would wish that it would be cheaper as well. But a lot of these people, a lot of what this is catered towards is kind of the resurgence of modded Game Boys and collecting Game Boy and old retro handhelds, which I have, obviously you can tell from this channel we cover that. I've gotten into modding them. That was kind of what I started learning during quarantine. This, I don't feel like it's too pricey, because if you get a Game Boy Advance SP backlit, with the AGS 101, that's probably going to be upwards of $100. And then if you just take a GBA IPS version 2 screen mod, backlit screen mod, LCD, those are when you get that fully installed into the Game Boy itself, it's that people sell them for about 150, 160, 170. And there's screen so depending on how good the screen is and the sound, I think it's well worth it, as long as because it says it's FPGA, so it's not going to be emulating it. It's going to be running it on the official cartridges. We'll see. So if that's all good and it's pretty much marketed, that'd be really cool, especially for the retro handheld scene, which is popping off. I'd say, thanks to people like Retro Future, Wolf Den, Retro Dodo, of course Mako. You gotta Mako, the people like that. And then there's the people that mod Raspberry Pi Zeros and put those in a retro handhelds. Shout out to Wormy, of Pseudo Mod, and then Helder mods, Angry Helder. All those people, I feel that's kind of the crowd this is catered to, is this community. And I feel 200 isn't too much. It is very expensive. You could just buy a Switch Lite and get a Nintendo Switch Online membership for a couple bucks a month, and you would have a lot of retro games just from the NES and SNES stuff that's on there. So that's also something you could spend your money on. They announced some stuff about the battery life. Let me see if I can pull that up. I believe it was 10 hours, and it also has a sleep function, which is pretty cool. So it's kind of like the DS in that sense, and it's going to be running with a 4300 milliamp hour battery, with 6 to 10 hours of gameplay, and then 10 hours of sleep. My mistake, I just pulled it up. So I thought that was really cool, and just from like the screenshots they've shown, they showed some like Castlevania on Game Boy, like DMG Game Boy or Game Boy Pocket Game Boy. They showed Game Boy Color. Shantae looks incredible. And with the limited run games announcement of Shantae coming back, shout out MVG, he's one of the people working on that port. I think a lot of people would want to run this so beautifully. Like look at the pixels. I'll try to bring that up for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. But the pixels look so sharp. It still holds like the actual like artistic integrity and style. It just kind of enhances it and makes it so sharp. Like you can just individually see each square, and it makes the picture so much clearer and bright. And then they have Castlevania on the GBA, and this also looks really good. I have an IPS LCD, and just looking at the screenshot, it's looking very sharp. If it's as good as like the GBA, like funny playing backlight mod, I think that's well worth it. And then they also talked about multiplayer, which I think that's insane. It supports multiplayer up to 4 players, and it requires cables sold separately. So it's not a surprise for a system this like high tech. You'd think that it would be able to do it just like wirelessly, or it would just be like a simple like USB-C to USB-C. Something like that, but they're gonna nickel and dime us, I guess, which if I'm making a nice shiny product like this, I may try to as well. You never know. And the dock, it looks very simple and sleek, very like taken after that the Switch whole style. Like I know the Switch isn't the first system to ever like switch like back and forth. Like even like the PSP could like dock to a TV, like the PSP Go and stuff like that. So I just think that this overall is very cool, especially for this retro community. Obviously, a lot of like regular gamers aren't gonna just drop $200 to play Game Boy games, but pretty much every day in the Game Boy like marketplace on Reddit, people are dropping that amount. Plus, when it gets to shipping, yeah, that's about that amount. And then, I think the adapters, I like how small they are, so it's not really gonna look too like weird and non-flush if it's sticking out like a crazy amount. Like for example, how a Game Boy card sticks out of a SP. I don't think it's gonna look that bad with how big the adapters are from what they're showing. But this is all pictures that we're seeing on their website and on Twitter, so we never know. And then also they like talked about like kind of MIDI work you could do, sync cables and stuff like that for Mac, PC, and other hardware. And if you follow like Game Boys at all, there is a huge community of people who make like chiptune music with them. So I definitely feel like if you were getting it to play games and this, like it's definitely worth that. Because to even do the chiptune stuff, you have to mod it specific ways. So it seems like it would be pretty easy to set up since it's more modern. And they showed a ton of cables. Like they have their Pocket MIDI in cable, the Pocket to analog sync cable, Pocket to Pocket Link cable, and the Pocket to MIDI USB Type A cable. So ton of stuff. It also, I'm pretty sure it's compatible with like 8-bit DOE controllers, because you can dock it and then use it as kind of like a console. So that's pretty cool, especially because those button layouts are very true to the original, like what these games are intended to be played on, like Nintendo hardware. But since it's like styled after a GBA, but it has extra buttons as well, styled after like a Game Boy, like original DMG or Pocket. And just like these screenshots, they look so good. They really let this hang in for a long time, and it's really good to see a bunch of info. I'm most likely not going to pre-order it right away. Even if it sells out, I'll feel like I can get this like later on. When you look at Analog's other stuff, it doesn't seem like they're always sold out. It seems like they like still sell their current stuff that they have, like their other retro systems, like to play like SNES games, for example. I really like the sleekness of the dock. I wonder how it's going to support the system. It's kind of like only like literally looks like a Duracell battery like supporting it, but hopefully like the dock is cool, and it better be good quality if it's $100, like for real. They're also this comes with the works. They're marketing like a pocket hard case, which is a weird name, but it's basically to protect the system. Makes sense. Or like to protect it from dust and things like that, or put it on display. You're spending $200 for a system, so you might as well protect it. I definitely get that. They're selling tempered glass screen lenses as well, and also it's going to be compatible with GB Studios, which is like an open source free Game Boy like development like tool that people can download like right now and run on their PC or Mac. And I actually just bought a game. Pre-ordered a game, Dragonborn, that's coming out. The pre-orders might close within like a week or so, and it's literally like a 2020 RPG for the Game Boy coming out like right now, and that's really cool. And it's cool that Analog Pocket is supporting that. So definitely like with this and Game Boy Studios, like the Game Boy is only getting more and more support. And if something like the Game Boy Advance gets a studio like that and that's supported too, like that'd be great. They also showed kind of what the adapters look like in the system. So maybe I was wrong with how it protrudes, because that looks like a lot of space. But I'm really only interested in the Game Gear one. They're $30 each, the adapter, so I think I'm only gonna really try to get that one. I don't want to play any games like right now that are on the links. Yeah, overall, I'm really happy with what Analog showed today. I still wish it was a little bit cheaper. I'd say that's one of the biggest cons. I also think maybe since the price is so expensive, the dock shouldn't be like an extra $100. Like even the Switch dock is only like, I don't want to say only, but it's like, what was it, like $50 to $70 or something like that. It typically goes on sale. Like you can get them on Nintendo's refurbished site for cheaper, but like $100 for this dock, it doesn't even look like it's worth $100, to be honest. The system itself, you can argue that it looks like it's worth $200, especially with all the features they show. But I'd say the price overall is the biggest con. Hopefully there's a bunch of these sold, so like scalpers don't run over the system, like the freaking Game Gear Micro. Like after a week, like those are already $100 for each, and there's like 4 of them, so that's wild. This was Kappa Kai. I just wanted to cover this really cool news that just came out about the retro handheld scene. If you guys like videos like this, just let us know in the bottom in the comments. Like and subscribe. Just got a new audio setup, kind of. Let me know. We're still trying to work to improve it, but let me know how it sounds. Always receptive to feedback. Thank you guys. Peace out.